Okay, so Chapter 6 in your QuickBooks Online textbook works a little differently than before. It's really a review chapter, and so the only thing that we're going to do is pay bills maybe a little bit differently. We've talked about it a little bit. So if you're on page 180, you should verify that your trial balance matches, and then you're going to start to work on page 181 in Chapter 6. And the first thing you see there is a memo, and you're going to actually receive payments from customers, and you've got 5 of those to receive. So there's a couple of ways you can do that. You can do plus and then receive payment and choose a customer like Amy's Bird Sanctuary. She owes us for this invoice, and we can save that one and go to the next one. Or you can click sales, go to customers, choose the one that has open invoices, and then you should have each of the ones that have open invoices here, and you can just click receive payment. So say let's receive payment from Bill, his windsurf shop, and save and new again. So you can also choose save and close, and it'll take you right back to this screen. Okay, so that's what you do on page 181. When you flip the page to 182, you've really got to pay attention in this chapter, because you have to put yourself in the position of working for your company either as yourself or maybe the in-house accountant or bookkeeper, and you come to work and get the mail, and you open the mail and deal with everything that comes through. The next one says that we've got a credit card receipt verification in the amount of $2,530, and you see American Express $350. We don't do anything from the memo, because if you look at the next page, you've got a sales receipt, and you're actually going to create a sales receipt, okay, to the credit card customer, and it gives you a note at the bottom of your memo on page 182 that you've got to add a credit card sales. Just like we added a cash sales customer, you're going to add a credit card sales customer. And then you're going to create those sales receipts on page 183, 4, and 5 to the credit card sales customer. Okay, and those go with that memo on page 182. So now we're on page 186, and this is a bill. So this is a bill you've received to the company, so you're just going to go plus and enter a bill. Okay, and then the document on 187 is a sales invoice. So you're going to go to plus and create a sales invoice. Okay, invoice to a customer, and this one is to the eBiz customer. Note that you'll always have an actual customer name on an invoice, because that's an accounts receivable. The next page, 188, has another memo, and it says that we are going to pay the following vendors, and it lists those all in that memo. But then each one of those boxes where it says remittance at the top, those are bills you're going to pay. The fastest way to pay bills is to go click the plus and then go here to pay bills. And it should list all the bills that you owe, and you can just check off each one of them. Okay, and we'll go ahead and do all of these. We'll hit, and you check the amounts, make sure those are correct, and then hit save. And it'll mark those as paid. Okay, but then when you go generate checks and print checks at the end of the day, or when you get done paying bills, you can print those checks. So QuickBooks is set up not to pay. Oh, actually, we paid those with MasterCard. If we had done checks, it would allow us to print, or we can print later. QuickBooks is set up to print. You can print later. That way, you know, you have to load that check stock in the printer. That way you can print them all at one time instead of taking time to feed those in individually. Okay, so now when we go to the next page, we've got more of the same. You have to take a look at that and decide what you're going to do with each one of these documents. The next page that is different is page 197, and that's a transaction register. You've got check numbers or ATM. You're just going to enter those as write check, just like you did earlier in, I think, chapter 3 where you wrote those checks off a transaction register. And as you continue through, you're just going to have more and more of those source documents. It's important that you pay attention, make sure you get every page, make sure you have all of them entered and for the proper amounts. You can double check yourself. When you get to page 209, there's a copy of what the journal report ought to look like. So if you run a journal report for December 2nd through the 30th, you should have a report that matches this exactly. If it doesn't, then you know you missed one and you're going to need to go back and enter it. Once you compare that journal report, you're going to run some reports, but don't submit those because you're going to get to page 225, and that's where you're going to have your exercises. So you're going to reconcile the checking account, and then you're going to submit after your reports that you run after you reconcile your checking account. Remember, when that pop-up box comes up after the reconciliation, go ahead and save that reconciliation report to a PDF.